Right, this is sample 16, the bus cup alteration. You'll use the patterns that are in your syllabus. It's on page 42 and 43. One of them we'll do in class all together, and the other one you do on your own, and that's the one that gets turned in. So you'll come to class and do one, but I guess if you miss that, that's why you're watching the video here. So the first step is to draw a straight vertical line through the middle of the waist dart. And this is the waist dart, this one coming up from the waist, and this is the side dart. So from the waist, and there's a point down here where the line, the cut line's just a little bit deeper. So from that point to the tip of the dart is the line that you're going to draw right now. And it says to draw it, extend it up about an inch past the height of the dart tip. And this is going to need a piece of tape because it's going to get cut a little bit later. And you'll draw the other side from the side dart. Again, take that wide point and draw a line from that wide point through the tip of the dart and cross over the other one. And that point where those two cross is called the bust point. And in theory, it would be at the full bust on the, this is for a female, obviously. And in the next class, you'll learn how to change some of these if you need to move that bust point around. But for this sample, you're just going to keep it easy. So it says, cut out the pattern. Oh, you have one more line to draw. You're going to draw a line right from the bust point to just above this notch. I like to make sure it hits this line right here just for the sake of convenience in doing this sample because I've done it before. And then put another piece of tape right at that point because that's going to be a hinge point also. Just a handy hint in case you want to know, the more you're increasing this for a bust size, the higher up the arm side you would go. So you can be anywhere in this area right here. But if it's a large increase, you're going to go higher, a smaller one, you drop lower. So your next step is to cut right through the line that you drew right to the bust point and cut through there over to the seam line. But don't cut past the seam line. And I'm going to cut this. Get it to there so it makes you can see this a little better. And then I'm going to give myself a hinge point right at that seam line right there. Okay, and then I'm going to cut right along this line on the side dart, but this time I'm not going to cut it all the way through. It just goes to, and it's going to become a hinge point. So I have a hinge point at the seam line in the arm's eye, and I have a hinge point at the bust point right there. Okay, now you'll have a piece of filler paper, and if you're doing this here at school or in class, if you have a piece of filler paper that this was the piece of paper that came from the factory, then this line right here should be really straight because that's how it came out of the package. If you line the front of your pattern up with that line right there, really nice. Okay, and then you can tape it down up here at the arm side and then swing all this out of the way. Don't tape it at the bottom because we're going to move that later, but swing that out of the way and tape the bust point. So I've secured this piece to the filler paper with a piece of tape at the bust point and up here at the arm side. Hinge the arm side now right here to how much we're going to increase this, and your instructions say to add 3/8 of an inch. So this handy dandy ruler with the nice 3/8 inch markings, I'll just line that up. If you didn't have it, you'd measure over 3/8 of an inch, put a mark at the top, measure 3/8 of an inch, put a mark down here at the bottom. But if you have one of these rulers, you can just line up that 3/8 inch line with the cut that you just made through the center of that dart, and just draw yourself a 3/8 inch line. So that's how much I have to increase it. So remember rule number 1, keep everything flat. So I hinge up here until this drops down and hits that 3/8 point right there. While I've got that nice and secure, I'm going to put a piece of tape across that gap. Then I hinge from the side dart and bring this down until I'm lined up there, and put the bust point there. Okay, my next thing I want to do is down here where, well, let me cut this off first. Somewhere between the dart and the bottom, just whack that piece off. Then square this up right at the point, right there. Draw yourself a nice square line across there so that this is a right angle right down there. You're going to take the piece that came off and drop it down, keeping it lined up. That's why we use the straight edge of the piece of paper. Is just drop this down until that point that you've cut off hits that line right there. And as soon as it's flush against the edge, matched up to that line down there, then I'll tape this piece back on and across the gap. All right. So I'm going to do a little folding and redrawing. I'm just going to double check and get all these lines down nice and secure. All right, so now I need a new bust point, because look what happened to my old one. Part of it's up there and the other part dropped down here. My dart lines are gone too, because my dart ended up here and now I have a dart down here. So I don't want a dart to go all the way up to the bust point. So I'm going to use this low line right here as my new bust point. So starting about in there, come down. I think I'll use this one right, the dart tip. So this is my new bust point. Here's my new dart tip, maybe here. I'm going to draw a line right down the middle of that gap. So the middle of the gap. Oops, piece of tape. Yeah, it's good. So from here, and I have to reconnect to my original dart leg, which is out here. So go up to there, my original dart leg, go up to my new bust point, right there, hash out the old dart legs, so I know not to use those again. So there's my new waist dart coming in. Now my side dart, my old tip was about in here somewhere. So again, I find my original dart leg end point and draw it to my new dart tip. This new dart tip out to my original line. Didn't change that one too much, so I'll just hash out that top line up there. All right, now we're going to fold this to get our side cutting lines back lined up again. I can't just get my scissors and whack straight down right there. That's not the cutting line. So I have to find what my cutting line is going to be. So I'm going to fold on my new dart leg. And waist darts are always folded towards the center. So I'm going to take the dart leg that's the closest to the center. So there's my dart leg. This is center front. So I'm going to fold this one first. Fold this back right along the dart, my new dart line. Just pinch it to the dart point. Don't go any farther. Give a good sharp crease right there. This is where you have to be stronger than the paper. It's going to be a little bit of a trick, but you can do it. I'm going to fold this so that point of the dart leg comes over and matches the dart leg on the other side. So very forcefully make the paper do what it doesn't want to do, and line those two lines up, and then the dart legs should be coming down right on top of each other until I get right to my new dart point right there. So there's my new dart, and while I'm firmly hanging on down here at the bottom so that my dart legs are coming together at the same place and my dart is folded towards the center front, so the back side where the fold is, and very tightly hang on to that while you cut the cutting line. And then that creates the new, remember how it came down a little bit lower right where the dart was? That created my new dart tip, that little extra fabric right there, or paper in this case. Okay, so now I have to do it to the side dart. So vertical darts always get towards the center, horizontal darts always go down. So I'm going to fold this one first along the dart leg, just to the point. We'll hang on to that and pinch it. And then again, you make the fabric or the paper do what you want it to do. Take this dart leg point and match it up to that dart leg point, right where they're going to sew together. And put those right next to each other, right to the tip. And little guy doesn't want to stay over. I'm stronger than paper, I can do it. So pinching that really tight, cut that. There we go. And when I open this back out, it gave me my new cut line. I've got, it's not straight up and down, it's got the dart point to it. So when I fold out my darts, you can see that my pattern at the side seam went back to its original size. My pattern at the waist went back to its size. So the piece that gets sewn on here, the waistband or the skirt, and the back side seam on this one, I didn't have to alter the back because it will still fit. The only place that got an increase in fabric was extra through the full bust and a little extra in the center front, because it takes more fabric to go out and around a full bust. And that is a full bust adjustment. The end.